right, hey there, friends. My name is Allison Vaeth, and I am here with a couple of my friends and clients who are very well educated with the whole entire coronavirus COVID-19 situation pandemic that is going on right now. And the whole entire intention of this call is to just spread some knowledge and share facts that we know are 100% true at this time. So with that being said, thank you guys for being on here. And Steph, if you'd like to introduce yourself really quick.
Yeah, hi, my name's Stephanie Mcmillian. I am a registered nurse. I've been a nurse for 9 years almost. I'm like losing count. I've worked in cardiac, step down, and telemetry, and was a travel nurse for about 5 years. So I've worked in several different areas. Yeah, that's pretty much my background. I don't.
Awesome. My name is April Palacios. I am a critical care internal medicine nurse practitioner. And basically what that means and what I do essentially is I admit all patients into the hospital. So if you come into the ER, you're deemed necessary for admission, I will be the one taking care of you. I work with an attending doctor, and we do critical care and internal medicine side of that. Prior to becoming, I'm a new nurse practitioner just in November. So prior to that, I was a ER nurse for like, I think 8 years. I think it was 8. I'm losing track too. I can't remember where I graduated, but yeah. So
sweet. Well, thank you guys for being open and ready to do something this cool to just spread some knowledge with everybody. So like I said, the intention is to just spread some awareness to what is actually going on, share some personal stories, and just explain some facts about what social distancing is and what are some timelines, what are some good tactics to know and learn to help us move forward with everything that's been going on. So I guess to start with some simple things, let's just start with the basics, like washing your hands. What's up with that, guys?
So a lot of people honestly don't know how to wash their hands properly, or they don't do it long enough, or they think that the soap is kind of like a hand sanitizer, that the soap's gonna kill the germs. And soap actually works by, when you rub it together and it creates all those little bubbles, it works as like an emulsifier, and it traps the germs and you wash them off of your hands. So it's less of killing the virus or the bacteria and more of washing it off your hands, whereas hand sanitizer breaks down the germ and kills it. So,
correct. Yeah. So yeah, that's a good
big point.
Yeah. A lot of people they found through this are not washing their hands. You need to wash your hands for 20 seconds or longer, which it's a happy birthday song, I think is what they came out with, right? So
I'm sure there's several. I've heard there's a Baby Shark one going around too.
Yeah.
So.
That one. So is there one that's
helps.
better to use than washing your hands versus hand sanitizer? Because I keep seeing the craze with hand sanitizer right now.
Yeah. Hand washing. Obviously, if you have hand sanitizer and that's all you have, then use it. Like we were just talking, if you're going to the grocery store and you just got back in your car, I'm definitely putting hand sanitizer on. Having said that, when I get home, I'm also washing my hands. So the hand washing is the number one way to kill bacteria, number one.
So, okay.
Yeah, well, and if your hands are visibly soiled, you always want to use soap versus hand sanitizer. So.
Correct.
Okay. Is there a specific kind of soap you should get?
Antibacterial.
Yeah.
Yeah. But your
right
good
now,
old
whatever you can find.
yeah, whatever you can find. But your good old Dial hand soap, Dollar General has it, or but even if you have Bath and Body Works hand soap and that's all you have, there is antibacterial properties in that. So if that's what you got, then definitely use it. Don't not wash your hands or use hand sanitizer just because you think that it's not like it doesn't have doing anything. It's definitely doing something.
And also make sure you get between each of your fingers, like your nails on each hand, under your nails, your thumbs, around,
Yeah.
Not just this and rinse. Yeah.
My question now is, I got my hands clean, but I keep hearing all this stuff about like, do you wear a mask? Like, does it actually make a difference? I heard they're too small and they'll go through. fibers? What's going on with all that too?
So
yeah. Go ahead, Stephanie.
No, you're fine. I don't know who wants to work.
Yeah, you go ahead.
The masks are more for when you're in. I'll touch on for when you're in public, and I'll let April talk about for healthcare workers and stuff in the hospital. So when you're in public, the CDC did recommend that everybody be wearing a face covering of some type when you're out in public. And this is less to protect yourself and more to protect other people. A lot of people we're finding are asymptomatic when they have COVID-19, but are still spreading the virus and infecting other people that they're around. Technically right now, they're considering coronavirus to be transferable in droplet form unless you're having a specific type of procedure done, so which you typically aren't having out in public, right? So if you're out in public, you should treat this as droplet, which means when you cough or sneeze, the virus can stay in those little droplets that you can't see that spray out, and they can travel up to about 6 feet, which is why they're saying social distancing, stay 6 feet away from people. Because if you then inhale those particles or they get in your eyes or in your nose, that's how you become infected with the virus. So please don't use actual health, masks that the healthcare workers need, because we are facing a shortage of supplies right now. And that's why they're recommending bandanas, a scarf. If you have a rave scarf, rock that thing, okay? I don't care what you got, cover your face while you're out there.
Yeah.
I'll be wearing my school one.
That's awesome. But yeah, and that's something we were just talking about before we got on this call. I went to Kroger the other day to get groceries, and I saw several people with surgical masks on and with N95 actual respirator masks. Now I know that there's different N95s, for construction. They work so they don't inhale dust particles and that type of thing. That's obviously okay. But if you have, which hopefully no healthcare worker is doing this, but if there's any healthcare workers that are hoarding them and giving out to family members, that's unnecessary. What'd you say?
I said, please don't.
Yeah, please don't. Hopefully it's not happening. If it is, I would kindly tell your family member, hey, thanks, but no thanks. I don't need that. Because you really don't. First things first, if you're symptomatic in any way, cough, sneeze, fever, whatever, you shouldn't be out, period. Have someone else do it for you. Do the drive up, the pickup, groceries, whatever it is. But if you have to go out, like you said, wear something over your face. In the hospital, as everyone has heard, we are at a national shortage, bless you, of PPE. And hey, that reminds me, hold on, go wash your hands. See, every time we see, we're in a national shortage of PPE. So for me, unfortunately, my work week is 1 week on, 2 weeks off, and I've had to wear the same N95 mask for my whole week. That is not ideal. I believe I looked it up and the shelf life was 8 hours. And then after that, and then even that, it should be a one-time, one patient use, and then you dispose of it. Because we're in this shortage, I've had to sanitize it. I keep it in a paper bag, all the things that we're seeing. I'm now going to have a cloth mask over it just to help preserve my N95 mask. And I have one for each day. So that way I come home, it immediately goes in the wash, I pick up another one, and so on and so forth. But there are nurses who, I'm in aerosolized or droplet procedures. So when I go to intubate someone, or if I do, if I'm in a central line procedure or something like that, those causes, or CPR if we're in a code, and I'm in a code situation, those cause the droplets to, be out in the air. So I need that mask for that. Nurses now who are
right in their face too, for these types of procedures.
Exactly.
So you're at a much higher risk.
Correct. And the same thing with nurses, if they're the ones, doing CPR, or the respiratory therapist, some nurses don't have to use it because they just go in and dispense meds or what have you, like IV medications. For that, you could wear a surgical mask. If you're not doing an aerosolized or a droplet procedure, you're better covered with just a surgical mask. That is okay, but you still definitely want to try to keep your 6 feet from the patient if you're able to. Anyone that's nurses out there knows that you have to touch your patient. There's really no way of getting around that. You have to touch your patient. So, but yeah, back to what Steph was saying, if you're out for the general public, just something to cover your face. And if you feel that, after watching this, you're like, oh, I have, all these N95 or these surgical masks, or someone that does, donate them. That would to anywhere. Literally, you could go walk into a hospital anywhere in your city, in your area, big or small, and they'll take them for real. So yeah.
Good. That's really good to know. So
yeah.
I've seen some people making the cloth masks for some of the hospitals, and I thought that was a really nice gesture, trying to help people out.
Yeah. Oh, also, if you're going to wear a mask, make sure you have it up over your nose and covering your nose and your mouth. I've seen a lot of people out in public with their masks just around their chin or just covering their mouth. That really defeats the purpose of even wearing it, and actually makes you more susceptible to the infection, because when you're taking it on and putting it back off, taking it off and putting it back on, you're touching your face more than you would be if you didn't have it on at all. So either, you know, wear it correctly or just wear it correctly, please.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So going into social distancing, you guys touched on the 6-foot rule. And I get that, because when you're out shopping or doing something, you have to keep your distance from everybody, or when you're going on walks outside. But what is the deal? Like, I've gotten some backlash from people for going on walks, and, you know, from my reading, I see that that's still okay. So I guess, what are your guys' ideas on going outside, seeing people? Like, what's the deal?
I actually heard an interview of Dr. Fauci, I can't think of what his correct term is, and he was interviewed saying that he still believes that it's okay to go outside and go on walks as long as you're maintaining distance from people, especially if you know you're in an open area. If you don't, it's different in New York. You know, you got to think they live on top of each other. If everybody went out for a walk, you wouldn't be able to stay 6 feet away from each other.
No.
So you got to think about where you live and your area and, you know, the stuff around you. So especially you, Allie, you probably have the water on one side of you. You have so much fresh air coming in, and like you're in a well ventilated area. I don't see anything wrong with that.
Okay.
I don't recommend meeting up with 5 friends and going on a hike. That type of thing, even if you're staying 6 feet apart, like, it's just, do you need to? Is that really necessary?
Right. Yeah, I completely agree. I think we have to go outside. Like, there's no way in hell that we can stay inside, you know, for as long as this is going to go. Fresh air is great for anyone, no matter what. You know, going on walks with people in your household, like, obviously that's going to be okay. I have a household of 3. We're obviously living together. We're going to go on our walks together. But I'm not like, hey, you want to meet up and go for a walk, like she said. I think state parks, trails, hikes, that's definitely something that's okay. I'll be honest, I'm on the fence sometimes about the beaches. One thing, if you're going to go to the beach and stay exactly 6 feet from all sides from people, that's one thing. But then if everyone has the same idea to go to the beach that day, we get a little crowded. So that's my only, like, you know, thing that I get a little like, oh, is that okay? I just think maintaining that distance is going to be the best thing. And then playgrounds. Unfortunately, I think playgrounds are, and most, I've seen them do the caution tape so far, but they should be off limits if they aren't already. My daughter, we went to the canal the other day, and, you know, there was a huge grassy area that we sat on after we did our walk. And there was kids playing on the playground, and she's like, I'm gonna go play. And while the kids are playing, their parents, they're still playing. So you can't go play on the playground, you know,
but that's also what, you know, we touched on earlier, is how long these, I don't know if we were recording yet, but how long this virus can live on certain surfaces. Exactly. And metal is one of the surfaces it can live on the longest. And you have to think about, playgrounds are pretty much a lot of metal and plastic. So that's another area where the concern comes in, is that even though there's maybe no other families there playing on the playground, you don't know who was there earlier and what they touched, and you know, it's just, I understand it's tough, and I commend you, April, for, you know, telling your daughter no, because that's hard. Like, you want your kids to play and be kids. Yeah. But
unfortunately,
do you guys want to touch on how long this virus can live on objects? Because I know metal is the longest. So what about, I know doorknobs are metal, so that seems like that could be a very dangerous and easy way to transmit it. What about gas pumps and all those type of things?
Yeah, definitely like what April said earlier, hand sanitizer, hand sanitizer. I mean, I know I've only had to fill up once since all this started because I'm not driving very much.
Yeah, not going anywhere.
And I grabbed the paper towel that, you know, they have out there to like wipe your windshield down with, and I used that to pump my gas because I didn't have gloves and I can't find hand sanitizer to save my life. So
exactly.
you know,
Yeah. I mean,
have
I
options.
think if you're able to, you know, hand sanitize, you know, same thing with if I go and I'm not going into anyone's house, but if you have to go into anyone's house, I guess, for any reason, you know, wash your hands, hand sanitize, whatever it is. I think I was reading, you know, like metal, plastics. Metal is a big one, and copper was another big one that I saw. And it was like 10 to 14 days that it can live or something crazy long.
Wow.
Yeah. It was a really long time that it can like live on a surface. So, just like she said, you know, if you have to get gas, you know, you have to touch the metal cans at the grocery store, wipe your stuff down. You know, it seems silly to wipe your canned goods down, but unfortunately this is just something that we're going to have to do. This is the world we live in right now. And then I'm even wiping my steering wheel down, my seat down, after I get out of my car. That's a lot for when I work, you know, but if I go to work, but especially when
I'm trying not to touch my car if I'm not going to work right now, to be honest with you.
I know. Yeah, but like, you know, I went to the grocery store and I hand sanitized after I got home. I like, you know, sprayed it down with my cleaner spray or whatever. I went out and washed it and wiped it down or whatever, and went and cleaned all of my like my plastic services that, you know, your napkins and paper towel or TP, if you can find it, comes in. So just, you know,
anything like plastic, just wipe it down and then wash your hands after you put it away.
Interesting. Okay, so a few takeaways when you're grocery shopping then is to keep your 6 feet from people as well as you can. Wear a mask.
Grocery pickup if you can.
Yeah,
I mean, I've done that several times, and it's actually been, I don't know why I haven't been doing it longer, to be honest.
Yeah.
All right, so grocery pickup is the first thing, but if you have to go in, make sure you're keeping your distance, wearing a mask, not just to prevent yourself from getting sick, but for people like possibly you and I to prevent from infecting other people, because we could be symptomatic. You could wear gloves, but it's not necessary. Just have hand sanitizer, wash your hands immediately after. Once you get home, dispose of all plastics and cardboards and everything immediately, but wipe everything down that you're keeping in the house and then wash your hands afterwards.
We have a viewer, Kamish, I hope I'm saying your name right. She said, when everybody walks past me, I hold my breath. Me too, girl.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. And
but the glove thing, you said something about gloves. I don't know if we talked about this while we were recording or not, but I don't think it's quite necessary to wear gloves while you're out and about. I think, you know, you got to think about it as if you were cooking raw chicken and you had gloves on and you touched the raw chicken with your gloves, you would take those gloves off before you touched anything else, right? So same concept with this germ. If you're in the store, you have gloves on and you're touching all the canned goods and everything that you buy, and then you touch your cell phone and your keys, there's really no point in wearing the gloves. For one, then we're wasting medical supplies, and people aren't even taking, you know, you have to take them off correctly or you're getting the germs on your hands when you take them off, which also defeats the purpose. And then people are throwing them on the ground and stuff. So it's you know, it's really not helpful at all. I just, you know, good hand hygiene, hand sanitizer, washing your hands, wiping your stuff down should be enough, you know. But if it makes you feel better to wear gloves, like, you know, everybody's got different ways of coping with everything that's going on right now. I just ask that you don't waste
dishwasher. Wear your dishwasher rubber gloves if you're going to wear gloves, because quite honestly, we're in a shortage. And if you feel so compelled to wear gloves, wear your rubber gloves, you know, and then that way you can wash them and reuse them, you know, if you really want to.
Yeah,
so,
that's a good idea.
Yeah,
but we already all look weird walking around anyways. You might as well just put some rubber gloves on.
That would be pretty funny looking. We might as well just get our like cooking outfit on.
And I will say, like, you know, for people that might be like, well, I want to be really cautious and do everything that I can. I don't think that by not wearing gloves, I don't think that you're not being cautious. This is definitely the time to be cautious, to be overly cautious. But, you know, I will just say personally, you know, here in Indiana, I just told them we had our first COVID death here in Indiana, here at my hospital 1 month ago, like yesterday. And that's kind of when we really, in our healthcare fields in this area, ramped everything up. And I will tell you that I have been to the grocery store 3 times in the, month, unfortunately. And I have covered my mouth and my nose with a cloth mask. I've not worn gloves. I've done everything that we are talking about. And I work directly with COVID positive patients. And I think obviously, every precaution that I can while I'm at work. And luckily I have been healthy, and I haven't had any symptoms. So I think I'm doing everything right. And I think that if we all just kind of think things through and be like, okay, is this really necessary for me to do? Do I really need to do this? And like you said, Stephanie, like, do I really need to go to the grocery store? Can I do pickup? I unfortunately tried that and they canceled my order because I tried to pick a big order and they canceled a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I have had to do a couple, and it is kind of frustrating. And so I don't have kids. I don't have, and I only work part-time. So I'm very lucky. I have the time to sit there and oh, is there a grocery pickup order? Ready? Yes. Okay. So I can understand you not having the time and patience to be able to deal with that with everything else going on right now. But
so all in all, just try to be.
And I think that's another thing too.
Oh, sorry, April. I think
you're fine. I was just gonna say, if you have to go out, I mean, I do. I've got a little guilt every time I leave the house. To be honest with you, if you have to do it, you have to do it. You know what I mean? It's essential. Really, really remind yourself what essential is, and if you have to do it, and don't have guilt if you have to do it. But I do. I mean, I've been there. I was like, God, do I really need to go? Can we go one more day without, bread? Or, can we go one more day without a PBJ? I don't know.
And then trying to time it after my shifts. Well, I haven't worked in 5 days. So
Exactly.
Kamish said that she's nervous and scared because she has asthma and she wants to invest in a hazmat suit. But girl, if you're that concerned, just strip your clothes off when you walk in the door, throw them in the washer and get in the shower. That should do the trick. That's what we've all been doing as healthcare workers.
Mm-hmm. I have a question. So I know that it affects certain people more than others. If you look at the numbers, but what's actually happening with that? Because I think a lot of us are misinformed with who it's actually affecting.
Yeah. So that I'll say this first, and then I'll kind of go into what's kind of going on here. As far as who it's affecting, obviously the people who are immunocompromised or have very serious comorbidities, like asthma. I mean, it's not a lot of people have well-controlled asthma, but some people that don't have well-controlled asthma, or they have COPD, emphysema, heart failure, those type of things, they're obviously at a higher risk. In general, though, that they're at a higher risk to, get pneumonia, even when it's bacterial and it's not COVID, the biggest symptoms that people do need to watch out for, if they feel like they've contracted COVID or they feel like, dear God, do I need to go to the hospital? Fever is 77 to 98% of that. I will say that I was reading on studies, though, that many people developed fever after hospitalization, and that percentage was 89% of people. The other thing is that from a healthcare perspective, we're allowing these people to have fevers as high as 103 sometimes. We're just letting them ride it out.
Typically kind of what I do anyways. Usually I don't treat unless it's over 101.3, 101.5-ish. You let your body do its job.
Exactly. Because again, this is a virus. It is a virus. And that's the other thing. Cough and shortness of breath were the other two big factors. Cough was about 82%. Shortness of breath was about 31%. So, and those are just, random studies that I was kind of reading before we got on here. You just need to be really mindful. If you think you have these, I'll be honest with you. I'm 31. I have literally no health problems. Thank God. I have no allergies. I have nothing wrong. Should I contract this virus, I'm not going to probably, they might make me get tested, but if I have a choice, I probably won't get tested, and I will
Correct. Same here. I don't want to waste a test. What's the point?
Exactly. If my employer is like, hey, you know, you really should get tested, if it's like based upon like if I can come back to work or not. But at this point, if I'm symptomatic, I'm pretty sure they're not going to want me at work anyway. So I'll probably not get tested and just write it out for 14 days. You know, but for other people, you know, Kamisha, as of yourself, if, you know, you happen, God forbid, to get it and you have asthma, and I'm not sure, I hope your asthma is very well controlled. If it's not, you know, listen to your body. If you cannot breathe, go to the hospital. That is a big takeaway, especially with people with asthma, COPD, breathing problems. I have seen firsthand this hypoxia that comes in. It's fast and it's quick, and you're fine, and then you're not. And it's that late adaptive immunity stage is basically what that is called. And you crump super, super fast.
Now, April, has that been for you guys about day 9, day 8, day 9?
I've seen it. Yeah. Well, actually, I've seen it as early as day like 7.
Okay.
So like for symptom wise, our incubation period, I was seeing was like what? I think I wrote it down like 2 to 14 days with an average day of like 7 days of like when people were really starting, when they were getting sick. That's around day 7 is when they were getting really sick. I've seen it as early as 5 days though.
Yeah, I'd say 5 days is usually kind of when they start, is when I've heard like symptoms commonly start to show. And then
wait, so you guys are telling me, sorry, you guys are telling me that you can go 5 days and not know with any symptoms. That's the average day.
You can go 14 days and never know you have it and never have any symptoms.
Okay.
That's why. So that's why it's spreading so fast, because so many people aren't having any symptoms and are, you know, that going out in public and infecting so many other people.
Exactly.
It's spreading. Oh man, I wish I had this statistic in my head still, but I saw I'll see if I can find it and I'll post it to the page, but it was a good visual of like how many people the average person infects with the flu. It's like 1.3 or something. And how many people the average person infects with COVID is like 3 or 7.2 or something. That's why it's so much more dangerous than the flu, because it's spreading so much easier and faster.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So one of my questions too was, I don't know, what does it mean though if you don't have symptoms in 14 days? Are you not infectious? And then if you do have symptoms starting on day 14, how long are you infectious for?
We're still kind of figuring all that out, but I'll let April talk about that.
Oh, yeah, no, and we are, and that's the thing. I mean, it's hard to say it's hard. Is it okay?
Is it messy? Your audio is going.
Might need to wait a second.
I don't know what to do about that. We're doing so good.
No.
I can hear you now.
Let's see. Oh, okay.
That's a cute face, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Is it frozen?
Yeah, for sure.
Great. Let me see.
I think it's about to fix. Yeah, there you go. All right, let's hear it.
Cool. Okay, so.
Oh no. All right, Steph, you might have to take the lead for a second.
Okay. I kind of forget what the question was. How long?
Yeah, it's hard to say, like, when you got infected, you know, like, and then if you do happen to have symptoms on day 14, I mean,
that's really unlikely.
It is. And I mean, quite honestly, not to throw a wrench into like a lot of stuff that we're talking about. And again, and I want to stick to facts, and I have read studies where they did studies in Wuhan, China, where healthcare workers actually were infected twice. Granted, it was a very small study of 4 people, and they were relatively healthy, mild to moderate disease. But again,
I don't know if anybody has seen the actual test, or I know you have, April, but how far they have to stick that thing up your nose to get a test, and it has to sit there for like a minute.
Yeah,
and it's like it hurts. Okay.
Yeah.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
So you also have to take into account that perhaps that could have either been a false, the test could have been a false positive or a false negative. So all of our testing is also still very new.
Yes, which actually is a good point. I actually looked up another statistic that our tests here are 60 to 80% sensitive. Okay. So unfortunately, there is going to be a lot of false negatives is what that means. So a lot of times they can come back and say that they're negative and they're positive. I will say firsthand, I have treated patients who they have came back negative, and I was like, that person had COVID.
Right.
There's no way that you're going to change my mind that they didn't. And we can try, and honestly, we can try to throw so many statistics. And like you said, like, well, if I got infected day 15, I don't have symptoms till this day. It's going to be hard to say what day you got infected. Every person is going to be different and what day you have symptoms. And that's why you won't have to worry about it. Like you won't have to worry about, did I get infected? What day did I get infected?
If you don't go anywhere, she's saying.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
You cut out.
Sorry.
Okay.
Just stay home.
I knew what you were saying though.
Yeah.
I had a friend who thought she contracted it, and she got over it and waited about a week because she thought after 2 weeks there's no way to pass it on. So if someone is in that situation, how strict should you be on letting anyone come over to your house? And I know people really shouldn't in the first place, but if people are coming, or maybe someone's been transient through your house before you knew you had the symptoms, or be right when you did, maybe, what should you tell those people?
Yeah. So
no thanks, I'm not coming over.
Right. Yeah. And quite honestly, and I'll just, again, personal story. We just moved into this house yesterday or 2 days ago, whenever. Everything that I would have done for a new home orientation, come to the home, walked with these people, my closing, I didn't do any of that. And first of all, they're doing curbside closing anyway, just to social distance. And secondly, I was very transparent with everyone and said, hey, I work with COVID positive patients. I'm in direct care of them. I'm not symptomatic, but I don't want to infect you. My birthday was just on the 3rd. I didn't have a single person come over. You know what I mean? I didn't have a family member other than the immediate people in my household. It sucks. This sucks. It's not good. So what I would tell to your friend or to anyone else that's in that situation that your friend was in, stay at home even longer, continue to stay at home, tell your other people to stay at home. They don't need to come into your house. You don't need to go into their house. I mean, it's that simple. And it sucks. Believe me.
That's going to touch back, or we're going to touch back around to that social distancing thing. And I know a lot of people are having like, oh, I want to just go over for a glass of wine. We'll sit 6 feet apart. And it's like, you just don't need to do that. Unless there's somebody that unless you live with them directly, or they are directly involved with you for childcare, or like something of that means that's unavoidable, you shouldn't be seeing them right now.
Yeah.
And
I mean, get creative. I've seen people go into empty parking lots, open the back hatch of their car and sit there, and they're all in a circle. I mean, I think that would be fine. You're not close to anyone. You didn't really get out of your car. You're sitting there. You want to sit. Yeah, I've seen that. I think that's real creative, but to come into your home, even if it's just 1 or 2 people, I mean, it's not something you need to do. No one needs to do it. And I'll tell you, Jake and I moved ourselves pretty much, and his brother, who obviously, but it was like, we need someone to help us move, but we took precautions. We did what we needed to. He didn't stay and hang around, he left as soon as everything was done. He honestly only came in really the garage and the kitchen. So, but
honestly, the sooner everybody starts doing that, the sooner we can go back to normal.
Yeah. Exactly.
People just aren't grasping how, say you have a family and their son sees his girlfriend because he needs to see his girlfriend. Well, his girlfriend lives with her parents, and her parents are at work all day. There's like 50 people right there that one person could have potentially unknowingly infected. And it's so hard to grasp this as a concept, because unfortunately we'll never know if we are overreacting, we are only going to know if we underreact. And that is going to be evident by a lot of deaths that didn't need to happen.
Ooh.
So it feels like you're doing nothing because we're fighting this invisible thing, and people feel so helpless, and I understand they're sitting at home and they're like, they feel like they don't have a purpose. But right now you are fulfilling your purpose by staying at home, because you're saving lives by staying at home. Like, I know I can't imagine, and it's hard for me to be compassionate about it because I don't have that choice and I have to go to work. But I am telling you all right now that if you could work one shift on a COVID floor, and see healthcare professionals who are seasoned, who are intelligent people. We've been fighting diseases and exposing ourselves to all types of superbugs for years. And I have been in healthcare since I was 19. I started in an ICU. I've never seen this many people this scared.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't get scared over stuff. We're like, don't come here. If there's no bone showing, we don't care. Like, we're not the type to freak out about stuff. So
yeah, agreed. And I think that, and Allison, do we have more points that we want to touch on?
We had a couple, but they're a little bit lighter. So I would really, honestly, I would love to hear like a story or something that's like, I want people to really pick up on the gravity of the situation. And I know you mentioned to me a few days ago how you could be dying on your deathbed and have nobody in there with you. They're not allowed.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I wanted to, tell, from my perspective, and, we all are in different states and it's kind of affecting us differently. Unfortunately, right now in Indianapolis, it's pretty rough over here. We had our first COVID death, like I said, a month ago, and, she died alone. She died with no one there. Her significant other could not be there with her, no friends, nobody. And that is a very sad and scary thing, especially when there are no visitors allowed in the hospital. So, we are coding these people. I have to call family members. I had a scenario where I had to basically tell a family member that her father was dying and she would not be able to say goodbye to him. And that is very rough to listen to some complete stranger over the phone and tell them that, and know that the last time that she saw her father was the last time. There's not going to be much more that we're going to be able to do. And I have no idea when she'll be able to see him again. Death is hard enough. And to do it alone, and then to have to hear it from a stranger that you can't do anything else for their family member and you won't see them anymore. I mean, it's not even my family member, and I was crying with her, like, I'm going to cry now. Like, that is the worst absolute thing to have to do. And that is why I can't stress enough that we all need to take this seriously. I don't know where you're at in the United States or who's going to watch this. If it's not right in front of you, I think it's probably hard for you to understand. It's kind of out of sight, out of mind. And I get that, but it is real and it is happening and it is going to continue to happen. And it's not just old people. It is young people. It is people in their 30s. It is people in their 20s. I have intubated young women that were in their 20s who had pneumonia, who were on a life support and should not have been on life support. 30-year-olds who should not be on life support, because it's happening. And the fact that they're dying alone. And then on top of it, I mean, the scary part about it is there is a job for someone in the hospital who goes around every day who's like, okay, what's your quality of life like? Are you elderly? Are you already on palliative care or hospice or have cancer? Okay, we need that vent. I'm taking you off. That's absolutely terrible. Like, you're fine. It's absolutely terrible, but that's the reality of it. They are going to take those vents away from, your dying cancer grandfather to give it to a 25-year-old who probably didn't social distance and now has COVID and is being intubated. And that's the real life, like, of it. And that's what you need to think of. Even if it doesn't make you that sick, think of your parents and your grandparents. Those are the people that we want to try to protect along with everyone else. It's scary and it's hard. And like she said, we don't get too shaken up about things in the medical field, especially all of us in critical care and emergency medicine. But we don't know this. We don't know this virus. It's novel, it's new, and Western medicine is nothing but research-based. So you give us something that we don't have any research on, we're like, I don't know, you know, and we're going to do everything that we can and look up new things every single day. But we're all just really trying our best from our aspect. But like she said, you know, people staying at home, that's them trying their best. And I think that's going to be like the biggest thing for people to really try to understand. You know, I know that there are people still out there. Is this real? Is this, you know, a political move? Is this a conspiracy? It is real. Yeah. Yeah. It's real. People are dying and it's really scary. And, just do your part, because your part is staying at home. So no one is not doing something, you know. If you're staying at home, you're doing something. And that is, we are thankful for that.
Yeah,
well,
so thankful.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, for sure. And I commend you for having to deal with all that stuff. Like I have told you, we're weeks behind you, and I'm lucky enough that I'm not an ICU nurse. And like, you know, it's funny because like last summer I applied for a bunch of ICU jobs. I wanted to get back in the ICU, and I'm so thankful now that I didn't, because I can't imagine only being 6 months into being an ICU nurse and having to do what they're having to do. But you know, who knows what they're doing? They're training med-surg nurses to take vents now and drips. So who knows? I mean, that's the other scary part as healthcare professionals. Sometimes we're forced with the choice of let someone die or practice out of our scope. Like we don't know what we're doing, or, you know, and there's just so much that goes into it. That's not even a topic for this discussion, but my heart goes out to you, April, and thank you for continuing to do what you're doing.
Thank you to everybody who's fighting this pandemic. It's definitely brutal.
I was going to say something and now I can't remember.
I know, I had a thought too, man. I really need to start writing things down more. Well, on a later note, I did want to touch on, I read some new research about like maybe different ways you can get in micronutrients and supplements, and how to stay healthy. And if you do think you have it, the do's and the don'ts. Like there are some things we should not be doing, I've heard.
So ways that we're slowly finding things out that are potentially helpful. They are starting to treat some patients with high doses of vitamin C and zinc and showing some promising results with that stuff. My cousin is a nurse practitioner for Duke, and they've been doing several studies, and they're finding that high levels of zinc and vitamin C in your diet and supplemental can help possibly help prevent the transmission, and if you do potentially get sick, can potentially lessen the severeness and the duration of the infection. So while there's not really a lot of research behind it right now, I'm all for, you know, getting your micronutrients in your food. So vitamin C obviously is fruits, you know, oranges, strawberries, any citrus fruit, lemons. There's actually a surprising amount of vitamin C in bell peppers.
Yeah.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah. So,
I mean, not like a ton, but I eat a lot of bell peppers. So.
Oh yeah. Drink a lot of water and eat a lot of whole foods, and you know, get on a detox plan that has a lot of like vitamin C, like nutrient vegetables and greens, something that's like going to cleanse the body and give it the nutrients and the fuel that it needs. Kamish just said the mental health issues that are going on with all this. And yes, I've noticed with my clients, I do a mindset-based work in my Elevate You program. And luckily, a lot of people are already on a roll and understanding kind of their part in all of this and understanding how they can, I guess, move through it in a healthy way. But for people who don't have the support system, I think this time more than ever is a good time to reach out to somebody, whether it's a friend, a mother, a coach, somebody. You need to be able to talk, to express how you're feeling, to kind of let some negative energy out and have somebody that's there on your side, like bringing you back up. And then that also comes down to a lot of us have lost our jobs. We're feeling like we're in a scarcity mindset and a little unsure of what's going on. And it's okay to have those feelings and emotions, but you do have to be able to pull yourself up. And when you're at home, get back on a good schedule. Get out and go on walks. Get some workouts in. Focus on reading and things that you know are good for the body and the soul. And try to, as best as you can, you know, stay as positive as possible.
And that's actually something I almost touched on earlier when we were talking about leaving the house and like essential versus non-essential. And you know, I've been trying a lot harder not to judge as many people because I don't know where they're coming from and what essential means to them. And mental health is essential right now. Like if you are someone who struggles with depression or, you know, suicidal thoughts or anything like that, and if you need to go buy paint in order to keep yourself from hurting yourself or keeping your mental health in check, that is essential. Okay. Just you wear your mask and be mindful about where you're going. I needed acetone because Lord knows I need these nails off because I'm not going back to work and getting COVID under them. Like, and I'm not going to a salon right now. So I considered that essential. I waited until about 5 o'clock in the morning and went to a CVS when I knew there was going to be nobody else in there. So you can be, you know, strategic with your shopping. It's just
and
a little bit more
work
time
for you.
planning.
I think even there's hardware stores that are doing curbside pickup. Now call ahead. Like if you're like, I want to redo my whole house on this quarantine time or paint my whatever, you know, call, like say, hey, are you guys doing curbside pickup? Like what's your policy? Because hardware stores are open. They are considered essential. You know, Menards, they are considered essential. And I think like you said, Stephanie, I think it's really important to, at this point, especially now, let's all give each other a little grace. You know, and I think one big thing, you know, that I've seen people are kind of, you know, griping about is, oh, I can't believe people are taking their kids out during this, like to the stores and stuff. What if that's a single mom? There's no child care.
I had that
There's
thought
no
earlier
school.
too.
Yeah, you know, what if she's alone or it's a single dad or, you know, it's the grandparents that take care of them. You know, we're thankfully lucky enough in our job situations and with mine that like we'll be okay. But there's been a couple times where we're like, you know, Jake just went to the store. I stay home with Kenna, like, but if I don't have him and vice versa, I have to take her, you know? So I think before we like you said, you know, judge other people's situations, what's essential to them, what do they need to do? Like, let's just all do our own parts and give each other a little bit of grace and just keep moving forward. Because like you said, you know, this is our time right now. This is temporary. I mean, this sucks, but this is temporary. This is not going to be for forever. This is not a forever thing. And the quicker we do what we need to do and get through this, the quicker we can go back to living our lives. And let's just maybe get creative, you know, let's start writing letters again, you know, like actual mail letters, or really trying to facilitate Zoom calls or FaceTime calls with people that you maybe haven't talked to in a long time. You know, let's get creative and be like, hey, you know, what are you doing? You're not doing anything right now. Let's FaceTime, because we all aren't doing anything right now. So there's really no reason, you know. So let's just get creative and be there for each other and really be supportive, you know, for literally a stranger, because that's who we're protecting. If you think about it, we're protecting strangers, protecting ourselves and protecting strangers.
It's definitely a time to stop shaming on other people, stop spreading any type of negativity. If you have any negative thoughts, just keep it to yourself. No one needs to hear it. No one needs to see it. And unless you're bringing other people up.
And, you know, I'm not perfect. I have struggled with that myself. And it finally took me coming to a point where I was like, listen, I cannot continue to put that stress on myself of other people not doing what they should be doing, because I can't control it. And it was causing me literally anxiety, and I'm not an anxious person. And I was being like angry at people, and that's not who I am. So I had to take a step back and just be like, you know, remove yourself from the situation for a while if you need to. Getting information is great, but there is such a thing as information overload with all this going on. And, you know, get off Facebook, get off Instagram, check your sources, make sure that you're reading information from places that actually know what they're talking about and aren't just trying to throw numbers at you, because the numbers in all of this can be so misleading for so many different reasons. So unless you're like a data analytics kind of person, just don't even listen to the numbers, just stay home.
Yeah, stay home.
So get off of the news and the media as much as possible.
I mean, it's good to just take a break, you know?
Yeah. I mean, once a day, if you need to be informed on what's going on, there's a really good podcast on I use the Apple podcast, but it's like Coronavirus Daily with Sanjay Gupta, and
I've heard of that.
Yeah, he explains things in a really nice way. It's not it honestly, usually I feel better after I listen to it. I feel less stressed. And then one episode he does at the end, they do a breathing exercise thing, which also I've been telling people they should be doing. You know, in the hospital, when people are really sick, we give them a plastic little toolbox. It's a breathing exercise. It's called an incentive spirometer, and it's to try to get you to open your lungs as much as you can, hold it for a little bit, and then have a slow exhale. And you're just training your lungs to work better and, you know, do the gas exchange better. So if you want to do things to help prevent you from getting sick, or, you know, if you do get sick, how to keep yourself, you know, healthy, breathing exercises, meditation, deep breathing exercises, don't knock it. That stuff's real.
Oh, it is real.
Hydrate, like we said earlier, the nutrition and hydrating, and then keep moving. You're going to feel like you got hit by a truck, possibly. You're going to feel like dying, and you're probably not going to feel like getting out of bed. But I don't know if there's any data behind it, but I mean, in regards to just COVID, but anytime anybody's in the hospital and they're sick, we want them up walking. We don't want them in bed. Movement helps keep your body doing its job. So even if it's just getting up every 2 hours and taking a lap around the inside of your house, that is better than nothing. Don't just lay there, you know, give your body a chance to fight this off.
Yeah. And
very
I think
good
that's
information.
That's a very good point. I mean, early ambulation in hospital, like you said, that's always a big thing, you know, but I think if we talk about the people who might contract COVID who are not in the hospital or don't go to the hospital, I 100% agree with you. Like, you should be out, or not out, you should be up in your home, you know, walking around, you know, even if it's just to and from your kitchen and back to bed. Do stretches. Hell, just get yourself to the floor, do stretches, you know, every day, and just try to keep yourself healthy. And you're going to be like that for 14 days. And it's a virus, so you're going to feel terrible. But also listen to your body. You know, if you just feel like you're not getting any better and you're like, something is wrong, you will be the first to know when something is wrong. Listen to your body. I mean, this is a little bit deep, but impending doom is a real thing. I mean, I have had patients who tell me I'm going to die. Like, I feel like I'm going to die. Now, there have been some times where I'm like, and you can tell when they get that I'm going to die look, like something is wrong.
It's in their eyes.
Yes. And it is. It's something I can't explain, but when you see it, you know. The people, and they're the first to know. And when that has happened a couple of times to me, they have died. I mean, they knew like that. They're like, something is wrong. Now, granted, you get this back in my ER nursing, and people are like, oh, I feel like I'm going to die, you know, and I'm just like, okay, whatever, you get like a cold. But
pretty much, if you have a spouse or a significant other, they'll know when you look at them and say something's not right.
Yes,
okay. And if they say you need to go to the hospital, listen to them and just go.
Yeah. And that is a big takeaway. I mean, and I just want people to, you know, stay in and social distance, and don't be going to the hospital for, you know, a cough, runny nose, fever. But if something is wrong and you truly feel like I'm going to catch my next breath, or I might die before I catch my next breath, please go. Don't wait. And like she said, call ahead. Just be like, I'm coming to the ER. These are my symptoms. What do you want? I think I have contracted COVID or whatever. What do you want me to do? Okay. And they'll tell you. I mean, we're here to help. We're going to tell you. Yeah.
And that's to protect, you know, everybody else in the hospital and the hospital staff. That way they know which mask to wear when they're coming out, because it's likely that you're going to be getting a breathing treatment of some type. Yeah. And which makes us require a different mask. Yeah. So, you know, it's and that helps us keep it, if we get it and we spread it to everybody else, that's bad news bears. So.
Yeah. And quite honestly though, you know, if it's that bad, I mean, don't just call an ambulance. Actually, that'll be I think about it, like,
it would be
if it's
bad.
that, if it's that bad, you know, you call 911. But I mean, I don't want people to like watch this and be like, oh, well, you know, yeah, I might feel sick if I get it, but you know, and I might not be able to breathe, like, because I mean, even the young ones, and again, that is the biggest, I think, scariest thing about this, is that the people that get sick, when they get so sick so fast, and then they just decompensate so incredibly quickly. So I want people to still be smart and to listen to their bodies, because some of us, most of us, will have mild to moderate disease where we'll be fine.
80%. 80% will not need hospitalization.
Yes.
Okay.
But exactly, 100%.
Okay.
But the other, you know, 20% relativity of us, we're going to need to be in the hospital. So just listen to them, listen to your family member. Like she said, if, you know, they're not acting right or feel right, and you just know something is wrong, I mean, you'll know. I mean, trust your gut. Trust your gut.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So I know you mentioned a couple things of what we can do to help, like staying at home, but I think, Steph, you came up with some cool ways to maybe give back or to donate.
I mean, making masks and donating them to, you know, homeless shelters. I don't know if you guys, probably not in Indiana as much, but I'm sure in Florida, definitely where I'm at in Phoenix, we have a huge homeless population, and that's going to be a really big struggle with controlling the spread of this, because you tell people to quarantine, they don't have anywhere to go, and they don't have a fridge to store 2 weeks of food. They're going to be needing food every day. So, you know, let's give them the tools we can to help them protect the rest of us if they do contract it. So, you know, donating cloth masks, donating to food banks is also a big way to help. I know several areas, I think I just saw in the news the other night in Pittsburgh, there's a food bank that has been operating for over 15 years, and they, for the first time ever, ran out of food. So because the unemployment rate has just skyrocketed, all these people are, you know, they have families to feed, and their paychecks stop coming in. A lot of them are, you know, industry workers like servers and bartenders who no longer have an income. And it doesn't matter how good of money you make as a bartender. We've all been there. We all know I didn't have 2 weeks of pay. So if we're not going to talk about what I have in my bank account now either. And I'm a nurse. So.
Yeah, I lived that life for a long time. It's most people are living, you know, month to month.
Yeah. So if you do have the ability to help other people, can contribute to food banks. Make sure you're buying local if you can. Obviously, that's really hard with groceries right now, and I hate that. I don't normally go to Walmart, but the smaller stores don't have the online ordering and the pickup availability, so that's unfortunate. But I've been trying my once a week cheat meal. I'm making sure I order carry out from a local place to help support the local economy. Buying my vitamins from a locally owned vitamin shop. I actually use Allie's friend. So, you know, just support the people you can. Pay attention to what businesses are. I've been paying attention to what businesses are following recommendations, and, you know, especially businesses that are like, we're closing, but we're going to continue to pay our employees. Okay, I want to support you. So it's not hard to find that information right now. Everybody's on the internet posting it. So that's another way that you can, you know, do your part in keeping our economy intact during this crisis.
Agreed.
That's so crucial right now, guys. If you have any residual, like any extra income, or you want to go out to eat, look for those small businesses, order it takeout,
and
take
make
the
sure you're
precautionary
tipping.
step. Yes, yeah, definitely tip.
Well,
extra, 100%. But truly, that will make a huge difference in so many lives. And being a small business as myself, they're working on some type of severance for us, but as of now, nothing's been passed yet. And, you know, small businesses are usually living month to month as well. So that's, we're going to see a lot of people closing down and losing their passion and their dream through this process. So if you know anyone that knows how to help or can help, buy local and just try to be a good person.
Also, you know, check with your local governor. I don't know who is in charge of this, but I know several areas and companies are providing mortgage and rent relief. If you need help with that, make sure before you call the company, because there's a certain verbiage that you need to use, apparently, depending on the company, you know, just look into that before you just make the call. But you know, you can get your rent and stuff pushed back in certain places, and there are options. So just, you know,
there are a
remain
lot
calm,
of
don't
options.
panic. Everybody's in the same boat right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're all in this together. So
Exactly. Yeah, don't be too proud to ask, you know, for help if you need it. Don't be, you know, to be like, oh, well, you know, I'm embarrassed or I'm too proud or whatever. Like, this is not the time. And everyone, I think, for the most part, has good decency in them, and they will definitely help, you know, their fellow neighbor, family member, friend, whatever it is.
100%. They're definitely doing some reliefs right now. Besides the check that people are supposed to get, I know most loans are going on hold. Student loans, car loans, you could put your mortgage up for a hold. So just be aware that all these are deferrals, and you can stop payments for a few months at most companies nowadays. So if you are in that situation where you know you won't be able to pay most bills, at least you can get some type of help for these next few months and pay more in bulk, or go on a different payment plan, or stop some interest where you can. But be proactive, and don't just think that things will work out in your favor. Just make sure you do some research and stay on top of all that.
One thing that I think I had written down that we started, like you started, you were about to say this, April. I don't know where we got sidetracked, but if you have a fever and you feel like you need to treat your fever, no ibuprofen. Actually, just no ibuprofen in general, not even aches and pains, not arthritis, like nothing. Tylenol only, because a lot of the patients that are having really negative outcomes with their cases have been found to have ibuprofen in their system at some point, not even necessarily that they were taking it for the fever. So
do they know why?
Tylenol only. Something about the anti-inflammatory effect in the immune system. April can probably explain that better.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's not trying to be whatever, but it's kind of like a scientific deep thing where it's just don't do it.
Yeah, so I'm like, I feel like it would take like an actual lecture. Yeah. I don't know how I would be able to explain it.
I'm trying to think of like a good way to like explain it. I mean, it's the same thing with they're like saying like no steroids. It's kind of like that same type of thing with the anti-inflammatory process. There's like a cytokine storm that happens, and it's a whole thing. So
basically your respiratory system is usually hardwired to shut off, or your respiratory system, your immune system, is like normally hardwired to stop fighting once the body has defeated the virus, right? But this virus for some reason is causing your immune system to continue going into overdrive, and it's basically your body is attacking your own organs, your lungs, your livers, your kidneys, that type of thing. Yeah. And ibuprofen for some reason is helping that process to be more likely to happen. Yeah. Somehow.
Interesting. All right. Well, that's a really good one to remember, because I'm sure most Americans are taking ibuprofen on the daily.
Yeah. I mean, and again, there's little research to a lot of this. There is the research behind that. Yeah. But again, a lot of it's, 1 to 3 months old, but I mean, you can just look at your sources, if you want to, if people want to, fact check any of this, but look at your sources, anything, that the
World Health Organization released a statement about ibuprofen. So that's where I got my information in regards to it.
Yeah. So, and the same thing with like, I think it was like elderberry too. I've read some stories, or not stories, not experiments, my brain. Thank you. Articles on that, and studies on that. That's what I was looking for. Studies on that too. So just kind of like she was saying, the WHO, definitely CDC. I've been reading. There's a lot of good, but I wouldn't do like wiki or, just look at your sources. Look at your sources. So
you should be doing that anyways. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Right. Yeah. Research is always a good thing.
Right.
Definitely. Exactly. So. We touched on so many things, and I know we have a couple active listeners right now, and I did want to open the mic to a few of them if they wanted to ask any questions. If anything was confusing or concerning or any detail we missed out. So if any of you guys have any questions, the two pros will be
I believe, Allie, if you are gonna post this somewhere. So, you know, feel free to ask questions wherever she posts it. I will try to, you know, periodically check in on that and answer questions if I can.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm sure she'll tag both of us. So I'm so happy if I can help you understand this and it helps you stay home. Listen, I'll talk to you until I'm blue in the lips. Okay.
Yeah. Sweet. Where can they find you guys? I know you both have like an Instagram, and I'll make sure I add those tags, but
yeah, I'm most active on Instagram. I rarely get on Facebook anymore. But I'm Sam C. Millie, or it's my initials. Everybody thinks my name's Sam. Like, people that I know are like, "Hey, Sam." I'm like, "We went to high school together. That's my name." Like, okay.
That's hilarious. Yeah. Yeah, my Instagram is aprilmarie.np, or I'm on Facebook too, April Palacios. So I can respond to, like, if someone wanted to like message me on either one of those, or I'll, like she said, kind of check the questions if anyone writes any, you know. And that's, I mean, I think this is good information for people to watch, and then they tell a friend, and just, you know, get all the info out there.
Please
We're
share the
good virus.
Yes.
It's very, very important to control this while we can, and sharing this information with people, maybe the ones who aren't listening, just like drop it in their DM and yeah. Sweet. Well, if you guys don't have any other questions, let's see. Oh, I think we had a few come in.
Are we supposed to write?
She said, my question is, whenever you can respond, is if the hospitals have thought about teaching patients the mind-body connections, encourage stress management and relaxation techniques. Girl, I've been trying to do that for years. My thesis paper in college was about meditation, and it kind of surprises me how much we don't teach about how important mental health can be in regards to physical health. And meditation has honestly shown in various studies that it can have positive effects on stress, blood pressure, anxiety, several things that I'm sure people are struggling to manage right now. And especially with high blood pressure being a high risk factor for catching COVID-19 and having a negative outcome, anything you can do that can help you manage your stress will help you lower your blood pressure. So yeah. 5-minute video on YouTube. There are so many videos on YouTube. Literally, like, I've been listening to one every day before work. That's, you know, I am health.
Yes, the one that you shared about like the health one is great. Affirmations, telling yourself that you feel great, that you're healthy, you're energetic, you're positive. You can train your mind to change neurologically, like the chemicals, everything in there is like a little magic. It's just like, it'll change with time. It's like creating a new daily habit. But meditation and journaling and reflection and calmness and breathing techniques, those few simple things you can do for 10 or 15 minutes a day will make a difference.
Yeah. I know, unfortunately, to answer you, I don't think hospitals are touching on that, but spread the word.
Yeah, no, they're definitely not. I mean, I think that, especially now, I think we're kind of in a
crisis mode.
Literally life or death situation. I will tell you, I was never like a really big like meditation person. I've done I don't know if you guys have heard of Headspace before, but I've like looked into Headspace a couple times. Well, now it's free for healthcare workers. So, you know, there are times when, So, you know, I just was like, oh, you know, when I'm in my on-call room, I'm like, okay, I'm going to try this out. And it definitely works. And I think the reason that, unfortunately, because mental health is a very real illness, very real thing. And I think the reason that it's put on such a back burner is because we live in a very instant gratification world where we want a medication to make us better. And with these things like journaling, meditation, words of affirmation, I think these are things that we have to do every single day for several days until we actually start to see a difference, versus a medication, you know, that we'll take it and then we'll automatically feel better. Unfortunately, in Western medicine, that's all medication is basically. And there's a lot of doctors who will just shove it at you like it's Halloween candy, you know? So but I mean, I'm a huge proprietor of deep breathing exercises and even now more meditation that I've like, especially the sleep ones on Headspace have really been helping me because it's someone is reading me a bedtime story and like that Australian, New Zealand accent and I'm like, puts me right to sleep. So, so yeah, I think that I hope that maybe, you know, nurses definitely, I think are going to be like Stephanie said, she tells her patients, and they're the ones that have the most rapport and interaction with them. You know, they're the ones they see every single day. So it only takes one person to be like, you know, hey, this is what I do. You should try this. And then that person tells the next person and so on and so on.
Exactly.
So,
people are going to want the secret sauce. They're going to see how you're staying positive. They're going to see the radiance. They're going to see like, why is this person like just living life? How are they doing this when all this is going on? And you tell them simple stuff, they're not going to want to believe it. But if someone's open to learning and ready to change, they will listen.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah. And good things take time, you know? That's what I'm saying. Like it takes, you know, it's not just like one day of meditation and you're, you know, you might look at that every day. Like I am going to have a positive day. I am going to be strong today. Like you have to tell yourself these things daily. I think because what did they say? It's like 21 days to like form a habit or something.
It's 66 for an actual habit. Research shows, so it's a really long time. But I promise guys, I practice what I preach. I don't just tell my clients to do these things because I heard it works. I've made very, very major life changes due to some of this. Like just even going to sleep, like April was saying, I've never been able just to fall asleep before. And now I can go to bed and fall asleep. Like, whoa.
Yeah, you just have to train your mind is like any other muscle. You can train it just like you train your biceps and just like you train your glutes. Like our brains, we don't even know so much of what we're capable of. So just don't discount it. Anything can help right now. And, you know, I'm all for staying positive. And I unfortunately think that, April, you're right about the way Western medicine wants to treat mental health currently and has, especially for the past forever. But I think mental health is unfortunately just there's a lot of stigma attached to it as well. And it's just completely underfunded in a whole, you know, we have geriatrics, we have NICU, we've got all these fields that we have people specialize in, and we do have mental health professionals, but
not a lot.
They're just not as many, and I don't feel like sometimes they're not as respected or viewed differently in the medical community because for some reason everybody in the medical field, we get so science-based, and the brain, like I was saying, we still don't know so much about it. So mental health is a tough one because there's not as much research, there's not as much data, you know, we still don't know a lot about it, and a lot of it is, you know, playing with, like she said, with medications. Like half the time when they're prescribing dosages and stuff, it's a guessing game, just as much for the practitioner as it is for the patient. So hopefully this will help change the format of healthcare going forward after this is all over in like a huge way is my hope. And I really hope that mental health will be a part of that overhaul and something that we do. Because I think a lot of people coming out of this, whether they had mental health problems going into it or not, are going to have some type of PTSD from this situation. And it's something that we're going to have to deal with as a society as a whole. And we got to stop putting it on the back burner.
Exactly. And if you guys are really interested in this type of subject, or you want to know more and actually know how it works and the science behind it, Dr. Joe Dispenza is a doctor in this neurological field, and you will be mind blown when you start going into his research. He has some amazing books out, and he shows real science connections to how all these things work. And if that's the type of information you need to believe it, so be it. Read it and then start living that life, because if you can control certain things in your life right now, and one of it being your mindset and connected to your health, like that's what we need to focus on. We need to stay healthy, happy, and be there for each other. So if you guys
one thing we have truly documented in the medical and Western science is that the placebo effect is real. So
it is. It definitely is.
You know, that speaks for itself, in my opinion.
I agree. I couldn't agree more. So, yeah, I don't think we have any other questions at the moment. I'm going to be posting this. Remember, guys, reach out to us. You have 3 people who are really, really willing to help in any way possible. Those 2 are going to be a little bit better at talking about the COVID. I can maybe help a little bit about the mindset and the coaching side, but we're open resources to helping. And if you can be an open resource to anyone in your life because of some knowledge you might have, please do so and open up and share what you know with everybody. So that being said, oh no, I think April disappeared.
Yeah, I think we lost her.
If anything, thank you, April.
Yeah.
Your knowledge was amazing. And
Absolutely.
thank you, Stephanie. You as well.
Anytime.
All right. Well, I hope this provided some value for you guys. Don't be afraid to reach out, and we will chat later.
Yeah, everybody have a good day. Stay safe and stay positive.
Thank you.